Are you ready to be unleashed and unstoppable?
You're successful and stuck. Where are you burned out and standing in your own way? Are you ready to make your finances and your whole life work?
Are you ready to experience a breakthrough and step into your next level of leadership?
Living a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms, unapologetically.
You are where you are because of the way that you think. You are the creator of your reality. You are the creator of your thoughts.
This podcast is about discovering how to play big, how to be unleashed and unstoppable.
Through wiring in your success at the source as you step into your full potential as a wildly ambitious leader.
We are Lianne Carter, founder and CEO of Ambition Unleashed, and Carol Register, founder and CEO of Success Uniquely Yours.
Let's get unleashed and unstoppable.
Hello. We are so excited to be here with you. Yes, you. We have great information for you. I just got back from New York City from the most amazing event with Chris Winfield and Jen Gottlieb. Shout out to you guys with Super Connector Media. And today we're going to be talking to you all about how connection is currency and what that looks like, what it means, and really diving deep on this because this is a benefit for each and every one of us. And I can't even tell you how fabulous it was. I was on a Times Square billboard for the second time. Woohoo! You never think you're going to see yourself up there in the sparkling lights. So that was pretty cool. And I actually had some Broadway performers reach out to me and say, bet that felt good. And I was like, you know what that felt like, right? You know it. It's all about getting out there, meeting people, connecting with people, creating real relationships. And the thing that I really loved about this event was that, Lianne, we've been talking about this, when you curate an environment, which we'll talk about, of connection and vulnerability and being real, which was done there, everybody took their masks off. Nobody was pretending. There wasn't posturing. It was hearing some really deep and very vulnerable stories among some people that are doing amazing things in the world, just like you are. We're here to help you to do that as well, because we know that one of the reasons you come to us is because you want to have impact and influence in the world. You want to elevate your leadership, and we're going to be talking about neuro leadership soon. Super exciting. Let's dive in and talk about what the definition of collaboration is. Definition of collaboration in the English dictionary is the act of working together and organizing to create something. So it's all about creation. It's about doing something together. And we are relational beings. We are not meant to do it alone. We are not meant to lone wolf it. And I don't know if you've been anything like me, but I have done my fair share of lone wolfing. What about you, Alex?
I mean, we just did a whole podcast episode a couple weeks ago on diving into this because we do see this a lot. Right. We do often see this. I mean, speaking to a little bit more in females in certain situations and sometimes with men in other circumstances and situations. But this lone wolfing thing, we need to do it all by ourselves, right? We need to prove people. And of course, this is not the podcast on lone wolfing. We invite you to listen to the one we did a couple weeks ago on lone wolfing. But this is powerful when we look at connection, looking at connection as currency. When we're talking about in terms of currency is really about this exchange of being able to provide, your gifts and also to be able to receive the gifts of other people. And so looking at, how do you get to work together and really use the gifts of those around you to then create that impact, to create that influence, to create what is that you want to be creating in this world. And so when you're working, looking back at that definition, when you're working in connection, kind of really working together, you get to create a bigger impact. We actually think in our email earlier this week, we talked about how two minds together is so much more powerful, right? So much more impactful.
Yeah.
And Carol, I know you and I were talking a little bit earlier today about how sometimes we can enter these big rooms. As you said, I mean, this is a room with some power people. And you can walk into this room and you can maybe find yourself maybe judging yourself, criticizing, comparing yourself with others. Talk about comparisonitis.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about leadership and showing up on a level of leadership, is to be able to walk in there and see everybody as equals.
Yeah.
You have something to give just like the other person in the room. As we were talking earlier, but Carol, I'd love for you to share, like, as you walked in the room, what is it that you noticed about that room? Because you said everybody took their masks off, right? Everyone saw each other as equal.
Yeah.
Everyone had gifts to bring to the table. So what did you notice? Because I think this is powerful when we think about this connection. We think about walking into these rooms, whether they're virtual, whether they're in person, and to lean into creating that connection, being curious, and not walking in there already with this kind of self-judgment and self-criticism and comparing yourself to other people, and being open to connection. I think that's also important, is to be open to that, especially if you do find yourself up until now operating as a lone wolf, right?
Yeah, we were talking about this. It really is about being open. I was really curious and interested in the fact that the room had been curated. And what I mean by that is it was designed specifically for connection. The people that put it on sat us at tables, and our job was to figure out why they paired us with the people at that table. So it was a really cool discovery process, and I enjoyed that. And I think everybody that I spoke with did. It was about being curious. It really was. And I love the way you put that. It's about being curious about ourselves, releasing that judgment in ourselves. And then we can release judgment of others, get curious about where others are on their journey. Everybody in that room was in different places of their journey. And some people were doing things that were so far out in left field, or I should say left field. Depends on which way the camera is, right? For me, for what we're doing together, it was fun to lean in with curiosity and find out more and ask questions. I met functional health doctors who are really focusing on helping us live these beautiful, holistic lives. There was a doctor that is from Nicaragua who is helping provide free dental surgery and correction of cleft palates there. There was a man from New York City who is a member of our community who helps people to raise money for philanthropy projects. I mean, some really beautiful things out there. So when we're talking about connection as currency, one of the things we love to do inside of our program and throughout all of the things we do is to connect you with principles. And so the neuroscience and the principles are so powerful. We're going to really dive into this in one of our upcoming podcasts where we're going to talk about your confidence. And we're excited about that. Principles, when they're in alignment with your values, are what help you to make decisions with ease. And knowing yourself, which is another thing, we really take you deep through that process inside the Diamond Transformation. Through the Restore, Rewire, Renew process, we help you really get to know yourself and stand grounded in how amazing you are, how valuable you are, what your gifts are, what you're contributing to the world, and bringing clarity about yourself so you know what you're wanting to do. And the opportunities don't happen. We create them. Alex, Lianne, I'd love for you to talk about how we create our opportunities. We've been talking about it earlier, and I think it's really exciting to be able to bring this stuff. You can tell I get really passionate about it, right?
Well, it's that question of asking yourself too, where can I create some connection? I would assume most of us have cell phones and are on social media, and we have friends from different walks of life. And as you are growing and developing in your expertise, if you're entrepreneurs, if you're leaders, of going out there and thinking like, who's out there that I could help? who's out there who's maybe got a community or someone that I can serve. And also think about who can maybe support you, who has some area of expertise that could really benefit your community, your team, your business, your corporation, and looking at those network opportunities.
And you spoke earlier actually about operating from abundance.
Yeah.
In this way.
Yeah. And I've been there really guilty where you kind of walk into a room and maybe you're thinking maybe a bit more about yourself. Like, okay, what can these people in the room give to me? And having that shift, like the shift of the connection as a currency, is being able to be detached from that and really stepping in the room out of curiosity, looking at what relationships, I mean, it comes back down to relationships, really, right? What relationships
win-wins
can you create and develop, and how you can serve, right? How you can take your gifts and share them and pour into others, and how you can have an exchange of that. I know for myself on my own journey, it was really having kind of these aha moments and experiences of shifting from competition to connection. You know, it's so easy.
That's powerful.
Right? To walk into a room and feel maybe a bit of competition. And again, we talked about the comparinitis, right? Comparing yourself to others, having the self-judgment and the self-criticism. I'm not good enough, or I'm not as good as them. That's not operating from that level 4 leadership, that higher level leadership. Being able to walk into a room and just be wanting to give and wanting to have that exchange. I mean, Carol, what I heard you share over and over again while you were away last week was that every person you met with, the question was always, how can I support you? You know, how can we work together? How can we support each other? How do we help each other share the gifts that we have and impact more people, right? It's about the vision and the mission and what you stand for versus needing to be right, needing to look good, needing to be the number one pick, those kind of things. And we think about society, there's a lot of competition. And we think about, sports, I'm like the number one draft pick. That's what we see. And so we get to consciously make that decision, right? We've talked about design events, consciously make that decision to step into a room and be abundant, and step into a room and just look for the connection and understand that these conversations and these relationships, you have no idea what doors may open.
Right.
You just never know who you might have a conversation with and what can then be created by that. Yeah. And so I love how the conference you went to, I mean, it's in the name, right? Connection is in the name. So people that go there are already making that decide in advance as they're heading into there. And so for the listeners, I want to invite you to really think about that. Think about creating those opportunities, looking and seeking for opportunities, and really looking at how can you give back.
You know, Alex, Lianne, it ties into a couple of our principles of wealth that we haven't even spoken about to people. One is the law of reciprocity, right? Yeah. So it's being generous. It's about what you sow, what you reap. It's about when you're giving, when you're putting value out into the world with somebody in a very human connection in a very vulnerable way, it comes back to you. Yeah. And you and I have seen this even in our partnership with the aligning our voices, with having the same mission, vision, and values. Anytime we have discovered that we've been maybe in a disagreement about something or what would appear to be not alignment, we've discovered that it's really always coming back to what are we creating together? Why are we together? What are we doing? And when you can align with people in that way, like Alex, Lianne, and I have with each other, it elevates. You literally, quantum physics wise, you vibrate spiritually, you vibrate on a different and higher level. And it's that abundance. Yeah. And so that's what gets so powerful when you start to lean into that.
I think the last thing we want to, for the listener, is also, we talked about earlier how, again, we walk in this room and we're natural human beings, or we compare ourselves to other people. And to be reminded that your chapter one, like the person that you're looking at who's now in chapter 20, they were once upon a time in chapter one, just like you. And I think just
like Oprah.
Yeah, we were saying about Oprah, right? Like Oprah once upon a time started wherever you are today, or was once at that stage, whether you're sort of in the beginning or in the middle or at the top, wherever it is. And
yeah,
I just think that reminder, I know for myself, it was one of our coaches that reminded me of that. And it was so powerful. And that's really helped me with coaching, our clients when they experience that, right? The self-judgment, the self-criticism, the self-doubt, the automations around this, high achievers, we're really hard on ourselves. And so this is something I have leaned into over and over again, getting to remind our clients and remind the audience that you have your chapter 1 and every other person out there has had their chapter 1. And they might be in their chapter 5, their chapter 15, they might be chapter 20, and you will be there one day too.
Yeah.
When you lean into the being curious, when you lean into building relationships, everybody isn't equal, right? Everyone is equal. We lean into this abundance piece and we get to operate from that same state. And it's not about comparing yourself. It is about really looking at, I have something to give. Everybody who's listening, you have something to give. You have a unique gift.
You have something to give. It's so powerful to lean into that. And I love that you're bringing that in. You matter. Your voice matters. That vision in your heart matters. And we know that you've been successful and you've been leaning into this and you've just sometimes gotten stuck along the way. That's why we love bringing in the neuroscience of it and talking about these things, right, Alex, Lianne? And, you just reminded me of something before we share with you guys some specific calls to action, we also would love to share with you about our business besties that's coming up. Do you want to tell everybody about the business besties?
So the business besties is part of a giveaway. So you guys purchase a bundle and you get access to tons of amazing resources to help you build your businesses, so that if you are an entrepreneur, it really is about working. This is collaboration. This is another example of Nexus Currency, the collaboration of all these experts coming together
and scaling.
Exactly. And sharing their expertise so that you can grow your businesses, scale, and really create these businesses without working harder, without trading more time, more money, and helping you be able to grow your wealth and your business while developing new relationships and new connections. So yes, thanks, Carol, for
leaning into your productivity and your wealth, right? And really being able to dive deep and scale to a higher level. And one of the cool things is you and I being high achievers, we have done some really cool things, been successful. We found ourselves stuck on the way because that's our brains working properly to keep us safe. If you've been listening to us, you know we've spoken into this. And no matter where you are at on the journey, and we're assuming that you are leaders who are successful and have gotten stuck along the way, because that's who we tend to work with. And the interesting thing about that is we're always learning. We're always starting new projects. We're always doing new things. Am I right?
And it's good to know that sometimes your brain's way may be keeping you safe, right?
Yeah.
And so acknowledging that, seeing that, and that's, of course, why Carol and I love what we do, because we can help you notice if that's what's happening. And we also love to bring you tons of great resources that are also going to support you in propelling you forward to creating that life and business, right?
Yes.
Getting to that top, that next level leadership.
Stair-stepping up the way. And really, that's our love and our passion, is not only to give you those short-term results, but not leave them at symptom-based results and get to the long-term source-based results, so that you get both. You get the quick reward and you get the productivity, you get inflow and get unstuck, right? And then you also get the long-term tools. And that's what I love about what we do. We do this every single day. It's so powerful and important. Let's leave them with some great action steps that they can take for currency. What do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say, Carol, why don't you share with them what our call to action for everybody is today, so that you can start developing that connection, creating curiosity, and really looking at expanding that connection to create some currency.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited because I got this from Super Connector Media. one of the things that's just so practical, when you're going to create those connections, go over your email lists, look at, and your contact list. So that's step one, your contacts and your emails, and think to yourself, who can I help and who can help me as you go over the list, and just review it. If you're anything like me, my list is bazillions of miles long, and I do it in the moment, but I haven't actually sat down and looked through my contact list like a directory and thought, hey, I haven't talked to so-and-so. She was doing this and he was doing that, and we could really help each other. So that's the first one. The second one is to talk to your friends and family and ask them if they know anybody that could use your help or that could help you. They're a great resource because they know you and they know you well typically. So they can say, oh yeah, I know a guy over here. He is developing leadership for this particular team for his business. Boom, you automatically know that's a great place for me. I've got gifts that I can help. So you reach out, you make a connection. The third one is, you want to tell us about the third one, Lianne?
To ask yourself today who you can help and who can help you. So just even just sitting there and thinking about it, who you've had some recent interaction with. Again, leaning into your gifts and looking at how to make that connection, that relationship, that collaboration, so that you can serve and you can shine and also bring someone other's expertise in there to help you.
Check your social list too if you haven't done that. That's a really great way to go through and see who your engaged followers are. Reach out to them. See if there's a way that you guys could collaborate. And we can't wait to hear your results of this. So please, please share with us. Please leave us a review. We want you to subscribe. And we really want you to invite a friend, a connection, a collaboration that you have to listen to what we're bringing to you in the podcast, and let us know what you want to hear. We are all about bringing you more information. So you can reach out to us. What do you think? Instagram DM would be the best?
Yeah. And as you said there, Carol, we talked a bit earlier about if you're thinking about someone who could really benefit from this podcast, share it, right? Like if you think about the person, it's a great opportunity to reach out and say, hey, I was listening to this podcast and I was thinking of you. Great way to start a conversation, especially if it's been a while. So I love that invitation. Our goal is to impact as many people as possible with this podcast because we're very unique and we have a beautiful gift as a brain that likes to keep us stuck and safe. And we want to help everybody to be able to work through that, break through the things that are keeping us in our safety zone so that you can be unleashed and unstoppable. Absolutely. So our Instagram DM is unleashed.unstoppable.you. Unleashed.unstoppable.you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming in. And we're so excited to find out how we can bring you even more value because, at the end of the day, we're all designed to make an impact in the world. We are. It's just the way we're wired. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast. We'll see you all next time. Bye. Bye.